Ultima Underworld, the Stygian Abyss. Released in 1992 by Origin Systems and developed by Blue Sky Productions, Ultima Underworld was a spin-off game of Origin Systems' juggernaut RPG series, Ultima. There were 9 games in the series as well as a few spin-offs such as Martian Dreams, Savage Empires, and the Underworld games. Since Ultima 4, you take on the role of the Avatar, Paragon of the 8 Virtues, a system designed by your Legion friend, Lord British, the self-insert NPC of Richard Garriott. In every Ultima game, you're summoned from Earth to the medieval fantasy world of Britannia and are known far and wide as a hero who has defended its people from some great evil or crisis. The Ultima games always innovated with every entry, and the games, especially Ultima 7, gave you such a huge amount of freedom to let you do whatever you wanted to do. Want to break into houses and steal gold and items? You can do that. Want to murder indiscriminately? You can do that. Yeah, narrative-wise, you're supposed to play the ultimate good guy, but Origin loved giving players free reign on Britannia, and I'm sure it was their way of testing not just the characters on their virtues, but you as well. While I'm a huge fan of the Ultima games, having played 7, 8, and 9 as a kid, I actually never played Ultima Underworld all the way through until recently. The only Underworld game I finished was Ultima Underworld 2 about a year ago, and that's because it's connected to Ultima 7, one of my favorite games of all time. Until then, I had both titles sitting in my GOG library just collecting dust, and I even made the mistake of playing Ultima Underworld 1 right after the second game, and ended up burning myself out once I reached level 5 of the Stygian Abyss. Oh well, better late than never. So, does the game hold up? We'll see soon enough. My name is Voidbrand, a new and upcoming YouTuber working on getting better at this whole video making thing. So grab your ankh and get ready to dive into the Stygian Abyss.
A visitor, and from far away indeed. Were he not dead, I'd suspect my brother sent thee. No matter, thou shalt serve to draw the hounds from the scent.
Below, a creature heads toward the dark woods, a thrashing sack slung over its massive shoulder.
What hast thou done with our lord's daughter Ariel? Dropped her below to an accomplice, I'll wager. Well, he'll nigh escape us.
Yeah, that's some bad voice acting, huh? I'm not going to make fun of them too much. The voice actors aren't voice actors, they're actually the developers of the game. Well, at least one of them is, if I remember correctly. I honestly doubt I could do much better than them, but I do get a kick out of it.
What news, Corwin?
God, I love it. But anyways, Ultima fans would recognize the voice of Baron Ulmerich here as none other than Richard Garriott, the creator of the Ultima series. The intro sets the stage for the rest of the game at least. The Avatar is warned by an apparition who appeared in his dream back on Earth, warning him of the impending evil about to be unleashed.
Treachery and doom. My brother would unleash a great evil. Britannia is in peril.
The Avatar is then transported to Britannia where he witnesses a kidnapping of a young woman and, surprise surprise, guards bust in, arrest you, and drag you before the Baron to face judgment. You tell him you're the Avatar, but he doesn't believe you. This does save him from getting hanged, however, so he gives you a chance to go into the Stygian Abyss to rescue his daughter. Pretty simple story setup. And I know this was already mentioned in a certain person's retrospective, but I can't help but laugh at how the Avatar is tossed into the Abyss with practically nothing. No weapons, no armor. They don't even give him shoes. It's hilarious. I guess they figure if you're the Avatar, you can do this adventure with both arms tied behind your back, and well, they'd be kinda right, since it only took me 6 in-game days to find Ariel and finish this game. I bet the Avatar's feet was looking like John McClane before finding his first pair of boots. But anyways, as far as the Stygian Abyss goes, it first appeared in Ultima 4. It was the last dungeon the Avatar had to conquer before finally becoming the Avatar. Sometime after the events of that game, a figure known as Sir Kabiris founded a colony within the Abyss, with the intention of it standing as a testament to the 8 virtues. Not exactly a great idea, as he died soon after, and all the races he gathered under his banner ended up quarreling with each other, so it became a prison colony instead. Kinda like Escape from New York, I guess. And it's a prison colony we'll have to brave if we have any hope of rescuing the Baron's daughter, but first, we need to create our character. Or rather, create our avatar. You get your choice of male or female, a unique option of choosing to be left or right-handed, and 8 classes to choose from. The classes here are a series staple, as each of them represents a virtue. Paladin represents honor, fighter represents valor, and so on and so forth. The avatar represents all the virtues, so he, or she, has the freedom of being any class he or she wants to be. I went with the Druid, which is a great class for a first-time player, and the best class in the game, honestly. Why? Because they're the only spellcasting class in the game that can reach a strength score of 30. Strength is the only stat that matters in this game, as every item has weight, including gold. And for a first-time player, you're going to easily reach the encumbrance limit in this game once you grab a full set of plate armor, so try to get a strength score of at least 25. I managed to get 30, and I found myself struggling sometimes with the encumbrance limit, as I didn't know what to keep or stash away. I find it strange too that Druid can reach high strength as a spellcasting class. You think it'd be Paladin, right? Well, no, I feel like the developers made a mistake here because in Ultima Underworld 2, the Paladin class can reach a strength score of 30. Pretty weird. But I'm not done with the Druid yet, so let's talk skills. You get mana, casting, and lore if you choose the Druid. Lore lets you identify items, which isn't really needed as you do get a wand and a spell, and barring that, you could always go to an NPC and pay them instead. Mana and casting you do need. You want these at max. Here are the skills I ended up maxing out. The rest you don't really need unless you're roleplaying or something. You can also choose any weapon skill you want. I went with sword because swords are cool. Also, be sure to put some points to acrobat, otherwise you lose health if you miss a jump or hit a wall, and trust me, that's going to happen a lot. Alright, all done with that. Now you can choose a portrait. You get 5 per gender. They look pretty cool, honestly. Just gotta name your avatar now, and off we go. Before I continue with the gameplay portion of this video, it's worth mentioning that the GOG version unfortunately has some issues. For one, your footsteps sound like piano noises, the mouse movements are sluggish, and the aspect ratio is off. You can fix these easily within a few minutes thanks to PCGamingWiki.com though. Basically, you need to go to Game Setup and switch from Roland MT32 to Sound Blaster Pro. Doing this will give you some basic music and sound effects, which honestly don't sound that bad to me, but it is subjective. Roland MT32 has superior music and sound effects, but it involves messing with some ROMs in an emulator, and I just didn't feel like doing that. Oh well, maybe next time. To fix the sluggish mouse though, simply change your mouse sensitivity and graphic mode setup from 100 to 200. And while you're here, click on Keep Aspect Ratio. And just one more thing to do, I promise. Go into your Ultima Underworld directory, open up the DOSBox Ultima 1 config file, find joystick type, and set it to none. This will fix the jumpy mouse cursor, giving us super smooth mouse movements. Look at that. Nice. And now we're ready to game. GOG, fix your stuff. This game deserves better. Now, it may just be me who grew up with weird control schemes in games, but I found the controls in Ultima Underworld not that bad. It kind of has WASD movements, W runs forward, S walks forward, A and D turns the avatar left and right, X walks backwards, Z and C strafes left and right, 1 and 3 lets you look up and down while 2 centers the camera, Q and E lets you float up and down if you cast a required spell, and J lets you jump. And oh boy, the jumping is not good. Ultima Underworld has great stuff in it for its time, but jumping is not one of them. There are a lot of platforms to jump on in this game, as I'm demonstrating here. Get used to saving your game before a jump because you're guaranteed to miss quite a few times until you get the hang of it. The worst thing about it are the physics. If you hit a wall, you're going to bounce right off. It sucks. It's worth dealing with it because the rest of the game is good, but I don't know what the developers were thinking. Dungeon crawling? Yes. Loot to collect? Yes. Immersive options such as leeches curing poison, fishing, and eating? Yes. Yes. Tedious jumping segments which aren't rewarding or challenging at all? Yes. I mean, no. No. Too bad. We're putting it in the game anyway. I'm playing it up for the video, but seriously, they could add no platforming at all, or just very simple jumps here and there, and I really believe most players wouldn't miss it at all. You do get a couple of spells though that let you bypass a lot of the platforming, but there's a level later on that blocks all magic, so yeah, get used to the jumping. Moving on. Ultima Underworld is a dungeon crawler, so there's going to be a lot of combat. A lot. But is it good? It's fine in my opinion. Didn't have a problem with it. It's probably the best combat out of all the Ultima games, honestly. It's pretty simple. You hold the right mouse button to swing your weapon. Aiming the mouse cursor up does an overhead attack, to the right and left does a slashing attack, and down does a thrusting attack. That's it. There's a best attack with each weapon as well. You can pretty much guess just by looking at whatever weapon you're using. You get your choices of swords, axes, maces, missile weapons, or unarmed if you're feeling it. I believe the best attack for a sword are slashing attacks. Axes and maces are overhead. Unarmed is probably whatever. You can choose whatever weapon you like and do fine, but I recommend the sword because you get a really nice sword in this game. You can also use magic. It works by using a certain combination of runes. I admit though I didn't use much magic other than light spell, fly and levitate, flameproof, create food, and the gate travel spell. You likely won't be using much magic in combat unless you wanted to be a pure mage or something like that. Switching through different runes is a hassle when you got a troll in your face, but magic is highly recommended in this game. It's also worth mentioning the continuity of each spell system in the Ultima games. In the numbered series, magic worked by collecting reagents and casting it from a spellbook. I imagine they went with a rune system in Ultima Underworld because having to organize a bunch of reagents in this game would be a hassle. In my opinion, I prefer the runic system over the main series reagent collecting, but that's just me. Now on to questing. This game isn't just a hack and slash, you'll meet many friendly characters on your way to rescue the Baron's daughter. See this banner here? This is the banner of Cerberus, which basically means characters beyond this point are friendly to the Avatar, and they provide some much needed clues as you delve deeper into the Abyss. They also have items to trade and quests to do. Do them, they're worth the effort. Especially the Lizardman quest on level 3. You come across a wizard named Murgo who's imprisoned by the Lizardmen for... we'll get to that, but basically, you can't understand the Lizardman's language, but Murgo does. However, there's just one small problem. He can't speak. Well, great, that makes things a little harder, so I jotted down some notes as I was talking to the lizard jailer, writing down any lizard words for Murgo, who would then translate using sign language. After a while, I was able to understand their speech, and found out that Murgo was jailed for stealing food from the lizard people, and is about to be killed and eaten. Well, I'm the Avatar, so I can't have that happen, I guess, so to make things right, they asked for a gift and food. So I give them some food, and Murgo is free to go. Shame on you, Murgo. The Avatar wags his finger at you. For fun, here's a snippet of what the lizard jailer is actually saying once you put all your notes together up to this point. But this quest is a great example of just how immersive and rewarding this game can be. Your first thought is maybe these lizards are evil savages or something like that, and the guy behind bars is an innocent victim, but no, they have their own laws, customs, just like the knights, just like the goblins, just like the gargoyles in Ultima 6, and are generally pretty friendly. Probably one of the most virtuous race in the Abyss, actually. One of my favorite quests in this game, period. I wish more games did stuff like this. And speaking of the Abyss, it's big. Yeah, I know, that's an understatement. Luckily though, you do find a map in the very first room you're in, and good thing too. Can you imagine dungeon crawling your way through 8 levels without this? Good grief. You'll be looking at this map a lot. It's easy to get turned around in these levels, but thankfully, the map autofills itself as you explore. You can even write notes on it. Pretty handy. Ultima Underworld does an amazing job immersing you in its dark corridors. You never know what lies around the corner, whether you'll find a treasure or an enemy. You have to eat and sleep regularly. You can fish, use leeches to cure poison, use torches or candles to light your path. You get the point. I honestly wish I played this game as a kid. It would have been something I look back on with nostalgia. I can see why fans of Ultima consider this one of their favorite games of all time, and it's a shame we never saw a proper successor to it. Okay, so all in all, I really enjoyed Ultima Underworld, and I do recommend it, but not before mentioning more of its issues. For one, the GOG version is the worst version released. It's got a nasty inventory bug that was fixed in the retail CD version back in the day. Basically, if there are too many items in a level, the game starts deleting items from your inventory, which is frickin' awful. Thankfully though, that hasn't happened to me, but it was something I was worried about when I read about it. The other issue involves a plot-important NPC on level 5 that can just, well, disappear. What happens is that she's standing around near lava, and go figure, right, great place to put an NPC in a game. And apparently she can fall to her death. I'm happy to say that didn't happen to me, thank the virtues. And of course, the jumping. Oh boy, the jumping. I said my piece on that. And last but not least, the tinkering involved in order to get this game to run properly. For some reason, GOG hasn't lifted a finger giving us a good version of Ultima Underworld, or fixed the issues with it today. Heck, I may even bother them after this review. Yeah, they'll ignore me, but I'm going to try anyways. I know I said last but not least, but this is worth mentioning as well, the backtracking. There is quite a bit of backtracking in Ultima Underworld, and it can get quite tiring. You can sort of make up for this if you find a moonstone and use it as a recall point with the gate travel spell, but that requires high casting in order for it to be an option. Lastly, and I promise I mean lastly this time, is that I felt the game kinda sorta dragged towards the end. It feels like the longer you play Ultima Underworld, the more tired you get interacting with the interface and navigating through these maze-like corridors. It's the reason why I won't immediately play Ultima Underworld 2 after this, as I'm sure it's the reason why I put down the first game in level 5 right after finishing it. But this could just be a me issue. Regardless, this game isn't unplayable, and is still relevant today, and worth a look if you're interested in how immersive sims got their start. If you can get past the jumping and the slightly odd controls and the clunky interface, you're in for a very rich, immersive, dungeon crawling experience. I loved my time in the Stygian Abyss, and I will likely play this game again in the future. Now from the Abyss, and back to the Void, to find another game to play and probably talk about. Fare thee well, and may the virtues be with you.
What news, Corwin?